Hey guys, welcome to Mad Scientist BBQ. I'm Jeremy Yoder, and today we're going to find out if injecting beef tallow into brisket is going to make it juicier or if it's just a waste of time. Ever since I released the first video where I used beef tallow when cooking brisket, immediately in the comments everybody was saying, what if you inject the beef tallow? What if you inject it? What if you inject it? What if you inject it? Have you tried injecting it? Over and over and over again. And I think I've been reluctant to try it out just because I hate injecting briskets. It's just kind of a pain for me. I don't know why. I don't have a logical reason to explain why, but I've just been lagging behind in getting this done. So I thought, you know what? It's time to test it out. If this is a game changer, you deserve to know about it. So I'm going to test it out today, and we're going to see if it works. So to test it out, I went to Costco and I bought 2 brisket flats, and I got USDA choice. Number one, because I'm not really interested in injecting the point. I've never had an issue with the point ever being dry. Number two, because these are choice, they're not going to have as much marbling as something like Wagyu. Now, if you used full-blood Wagyu and you injected tallow, I don't think it would really make a difference at all, because say you have something that's already completely soaked in water and you add more water, guess what? It's still equally wet. So if you have tons and tons of marbling and you inject some more tallow, it probably won't make a difference. So if you use choice, which has less marbling than prime, it's more likely to make a difference if it's going to make a difference at all. So I'm going to inject one of these and put it in the smoker. I'm not going to inject the other. I'm going to season them the same way, cook at the same temperature, do everything identically except one I'm going to inject with tallow. Now, a couple notes just for the people who are going to ask because I didn't explain. These are both about 8 pounds. One is 8.35 pounds, one is 8.13 pounds. I'm going to be cooking at 275 degrees the whole time. I'm using oak wood, and I'm seasoning with just salt and pepper. We'll do more testing on the rubs that I'm going to use in some other video someday. But those are kind of the parameters that I'm going to use. I'm going to go until I get good bark, then I'm going to wrap in paper, but no tallow in the paper. Should I put tallow in the paper? But I'm not going to put any tallow in the paper. Normally I would, but because I want to try to control everything, have the only source of extra tallow being from what's injected, I'm not going to be adding any. I'll just be spraying a little bit of apple cider vinegar on the top of the briskets, wrapping them up, and then finishing them off. I'm going to trim off any fat that's on the meat side of these briskets. One of them that I'm going to inject in about 1-inch squares. Then I'm going to season them both, put them on. So here I have my beef tallow. I just put it in the microwave and heated it up. Right now it's right at about 100 degrees. And here I have my butcher barbecue injector. I'm gonna go and try to pump this thing up with as much rendered beef fat as I possibly can. Let's see. Okay, let's get to business. And I'm gonna be going with the grain if you're wondering. Whoa. All right, so I injected this thing with about 1.5 cups of this beef tallow, so this thing is loaded up. So just some salt and pepper, then it goes on the smoker. Okay, this thing is looking good to me. You see little streaks of where the tallow got injected and then kind of shoots out the muscle fibers on the side and actually solidified it as it was running down. So this thing is pumped up. It's pumped up. Time to put it on. Oh, shoot. So part of experimenting is learning new things. I found out that the tallow that leaked on the meat side, it then solidified. I didn't really think much of it. I thought maybe I should scrape that off. Then I thought, no, that'll be just a side effect of, you know, putting more fat on that side. Maybe it'll be juicier in the end. But what happened was when I went to season it, it looked beautiful when I seasoned it, but then it all came off because I flipped it over and seasoned the fat side. And when I flipped this thing back over, when I was going to put it on the smoker, yeah, not ideal. So I have to re-season that side and then it's going to go on. So here we go, round 2. pumped up. Next up, we have the regular one, which is going to be the exact same way, except no tallow. Before we move on with today's video, I want to thank today's sponsor, Hone. Hone addresses an issue that affects millions of men all across the country, and it's something that almost nobody talks about. There are lots of studies that are done on the ripeness of tomatoes or the number of sunflower seeds in sunflowers or all kinds of things that really don't affect your life every single day. But if you have low testosterone, that is a day-to-day problem that you need to address. Now, when it comes to low testosterone, there are two major components. The first is, as you get older as a man, your testosterone declines. And as it declines, you feel worse and worse, and you have less energy, you don't have the same vitality you once had. The other issue is that men today, even at the same age, have lower testosterone than their ancestors did. So, at the age of, say, 45, you might have 50% less testosterone than your grandfather did at that very same age. Now, the medical professionals at Hone take your health seriously. They'll help you optimize your hormones so that you don't have to feel run down and you don't have to miss out on that vitality you had when you were a younger man. And the way it works is very simple. The assessment arrives in the mail and there are detailed instructions showing you exactly how to do it. You can know if your hormones are out of balance or if they're in balance, and the best way you can move forward to take control of your health so that you can perform at your best in every aspect of life. I just sent in my assessment because I want to find out if there are problems with my hormones and if they need to be addressed. And you owe it to yourself to find out. The trap of low testosterone doesn't have to ensnare you forever. All you have to do is click on the link in the description. You get 25% off of the assessment. That's only $45, and this is something that could radically change your life. That's 25% off. It's only $45. That could potentially take your health from being your biggest problem to your greatest strength. It's been about 6 hours at this point. We started spraying with apple cider vinegar at about 2.5 hours, and then about every half hour after that. So we want to check on the bark right now. We want to see if the fat on the top is rendering, and we want to see what the internal temperature is. So we're starting to get good bark, which is a really good sign. The fat still hasn't rendered well enough, and I want the internal temperature to rise a little bit more. So we're looking at probably another hour, hour and a half, maybe up to 2 hours before we wrap.
It's good, fellas.
That's good, fellas?
Yeah. I make you laugh like I'm a clown?
No. Well, I mean, that's definitely good, fellas.
That's the same scene.
Like, what, do I amuse you?
Yeah.
No, I'm thinking of a different movie.
Okay.
A different thing. You're a funny guy. What, do I amuse you? Okay, 8.5 hours in, and it's time to wrap. So I'm gonna wrap both of these the exact same way in butcher paper, and I'm gonna spray them with a little bit of apple cider vinegar just to soften up any of the crusty parts on the outside. No tallow on this one. Here we go. I've never seen that before.
What is it? Oh, that it stays?
Yeah. It stayed right there for like 10 seconds.
What did you do, Eric?
What did I do? What happened? I literally
He
don't
built
know
this
what
thing
you're
in like 6 days, is what he did?
talking about. It was 9 days.
Oh, okay.
Actually.
Well,
This third one I ever built or whatever.
correct. Eric, I think you're just happy to be out of the iron jungle of LA.
Ecstatic to be out of the iron jungle of LA.
Oh, look at, what are these called? Trees?
I'm as happy as my dog rolling around in the creek behind your house. That's how happy I am. Right? I'm gonna go roll around in the creek.
Yeah. And right now, you don't really have to do anything. Just like hang out, eat some Mexican food, drink some beer.
Those are two things
Play
I
with your
happen
dog.
to be excellent at, too.
Oh, okay.
I'm an absolute master at
Dude,
both of those things.
remember that time we went to that Thai place and we're like, we both ordered something. We're like, yeah, let's get extra spicy, right?
Yeah, what was that?
It was like for my birthday or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Where did we go for that?
I don't know, some place that was close to Sun Valley. But like I ordered mine extra spicy, you ordered yours extra spicy.
And they gave us the white people spice. It was like...
No.
Oh, did they give us
No,
the-
no, they were like, all right, we'll show
okay.
you.
Oh.
Because they were like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah. Yeah, and then I remember
that now, yeah.
eating it, it's like nose is running, eyes watering, and the waiter comes back and it's like, how's the food? And we're like, it's great, it's perfect. It's perfect. Drink water.
Yeah.
Perfect,
Yeah.
awesome, exactly what I
So
wanted.
because what you don't want to do is you don't want to discourage a Thai person from serving a white person Thai spicy food because they're already hesitant. Because Thai spicy for most people is too spicy. They will
Unless
return
you're
the food.
like Indian spicy.
Yeah, unless you're like a masochist like us,
Yeah.
like you want to eat. I want to be hurt by my food. I want
like
my
pain is
food-
good.
I want to be reminded of my poor decision with every bite. Like I want to know. I want to.
And then several hours later, you're reminded all over again.
Yeah. Just as spicy on the other end of things.
Yeah.
Throw a roll of toilet paper in the freezer.
Oh,
Make sure you got some mentholated baby wipes on standby.
oh, geez. That's rough. Yeah.
Laval.
Louisville. 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 Low. Okay, I pulled both of these off at about 204 degrees. When the probe went in, it felt like butter. I knew they were done, and they have rested overnight, and so they should be at their very peak. And so I'm gonna test them side by side and see which one is better. All right, I have both of these unwrapped, and just from looking at them, the one that I injected definitely looks plumper, it looks juicier, and I did not expect that. I thought it might be a mild difference, but there's a substantial difference here. So the only way to really tell if this one is better or not is to cut it open and give it a taste. So after cutting into both of these, they actually both look pretty good. A couple issues, no two pieces of meat are exactly the same. So doing this experiment one time isn't a perfect validation, but it's the best guess that I can get for moving forward. So this is something you'd have to test multiple times to really get a good answer. Also, this one that we injected, on one side has a tiny bit of the point included. So that could be playing a part, it might not be. My guess is that it's adding a tiny bit of moisture, but we should still be able to get a good idea of what injecting tallow does. All right, first up, we have the one that was not injected. So let's see. All right, my thoughts are, it's got really good flavor, but it is kind of dry. You don't get the succulent nature of barbecue that you love with this, but you get the flavor of smoke, and that's enough to make this a delicious bite, but you really want it to be juicier. And it also kind of makes the texture of the meat seem closer together. Now, of course, cooking only a flat is going to make it drier. Cooking choice beef is going to make it drier. And cooking a small piece of meat will make it dry. So it's got a lot of stuff working against it. Still, the flavor is very good, but it could use more moisture. Let's see if the other one is different. Okay, here we go. The one we injected with tallow. And it definitely looks juicier. All right, let me pull off a piece here. Wow. I can't believe it made that big of a difference. If I'm being honest, I am shocked at how much better the one I injected is than the one I did not inject. They both have great flavor. I mean, that component is there on both. But the one I injected is not just a little juicier, it is a lot juicier. So I think what I have to test in the future is taking one of these choice briskets and injecting the heck out of it and seeing if it cooks like a Wagyu brisket and if it can match that level of moisture, because this flat is as juicy as a Wagyu flat. So I got to test that out. I am shocked. If I worked in a restaurant, I wouldn't do this because it would be too much trouble to inject, 100 briskets every day. But if you're doing one brisket and you're trying to make the absolute best brisket possible, I think this might be the way to do it. I've given you my opinion now, but if you want somebody else from outside, I have Eric from Fat Stack Smokers. He doesn't know what we've done here, but we're gonna bring him in and have him taste these and give his impressions. All right, Eric, we have 2 brisket flats there. So why don't you cut yourself off a slice of each and then taste them and tell us what you think.
Okay.
We'll call this sample A. Seeing someone cut left-handed really throws me off, man.
I know. All right, sample 2.
Okay. So we had sample A and sample 2.
Sample A, sample 2. Right.
Okay.
All right. So, right off the bat, I can tell this guy seems to be a little more moist than this one. Pushes apart a little easier. It generally looks like it's a little more tender, but let's see. With the flat, it's really all about the flavor. So. A lot of juice, obviously very flavorful. The flat, that's kind of the most flavorful part of the brisket. But this is actually surprisingly moist and juicy. That's good. Let's see with the second one.
Want some water?
Real dry.
Just like slide a beer into frame. There you go.
Okay, so sample 2, as opposed to sample A,
Right.
the difference in moisture content is night and day. It's super obvious which one of these is more tender and moist, and it's definitely the first one. Flavor-wise, the second one's, I think, maybe even a little bit more like beefy, has a little more of like a beefy character to it. But in terms of like the character of the bite, I think personally, I'm a fatty brisket fan anyway, because who likes the flat? What's wrong with you people? I would probably go with sample A.
Okay.
And feed sample 2 to the dog.
Ouch. I cooked that sample 2.
My dog eats really well. Is all I'm saying. Okay. He's a very fancy dog.
Can you do me a favor? Can you cut a slice from the middle of that one right there?
This
Yeah. Because that piece, it has a little bit of the point still attached, so
Okay.
I want to see.
You want to get a more apples to apples flat comparison.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So you're saying what made that good was that it was point?
Maybe.
Possible.
So I was just like right from the center of that piece.
Sample B.3. All right, here we
Deep
go.
prime.
A flattier part of the flat, if you will. Let's give it a shot.
Okay.
Much more of an apples to apples comparison,
Yeah.
because you're right. With less of the point present in that bite, it had a much more like flatty kind of feel to it. However, it's still pretty night and day. Like this is a much more moist bite. Punchline at the end of this video is when you tell me they were actually cooked in the same exact smoker using the exact same technique, and I'm just out here trying to come up with a reason why they're different.
That would be great. So I'll tell you what we did. So for sample A, we injected about a cup of beef tallow
Okay.
into that thing. Sample 2, ironically, we did nothing to except salt and pepper, put it in the smoker, let it
Yeah.
cook.
I think I'm a fan of the tallow injection on the flat. I think I'm officially a convert. So.
Okay, so Eric had a lot of the same conclusions that I did. There is a genuine difference between the brisket that was injected and the one that wasn't. So if you're having a problem with dry flats and everything you've tried is not helping the situation, maybe this is the cure for your problem. Regardless, I'll be trying this a few more times, and I'm always going to keep experimenting to try to find out what helps me make better barbecue, and then I'll pass that on to you. If you enjoyed this video, you can hit the like button down below, and you can also subscribe to the channel for more barbecue content. You can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Mad Scientist BBQ. I'll see you guys next time.
Oh, that's like as if on cue. Perfect.
Okay, we've got, maybe people just think I have an aura.
You need to wash your drawers.
Real hot outside, guys.
I also feel like they can use some gold on powder right about now. Medicated.
A little cornstarch, y'all.
Starch.
Walk like a cowboy. There's a reason they walk that way.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button down below, and you can hit the like button down below, and you can hit the like button down below, and I can't get past this part. Why?
You want me to inject it a little bit?
Yeah, inject me with some tallow.
Inject it flat.
It looks like I'm injected with some tallow, like right
You don't
here.
really have any flat.
Yeah, this
You're all point.
is well marbled. Well marbled. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button down below. And I can't say and you can subscribe. It is. Eric, will you do me a favor? Will you do me a kindness? Oh man. If you enjoyed this video, you can hit the like button down below and you can subscribe to the channel. Still more moist?
Talk my mouth full.
How dare you?
Yeah.
I would never do that.
Raised in a barn?
I was born Amish, you know.
So you raised a barn, not you were raised in a barn.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
That's what's up. That's my audience.